So, this is the story of crazy. It happened long, long ago. Not so far away. I was very young, and there were things confusing in the world. Things I didn't understand. And very lovingly, my mom tried to explain it to me. She said there were good people and there were bad people. And the good people were trying to protect us, and the bad people were trying to hurt us. And the good people were fighting to protect us. And that's how I understood war at like 4 years old. I had a rational explanation. And that planted the seed that there were bad people. And that planted the fear to be afraid in order to be vigilant, in order to protect myself against bad people. And fear became my friend, guiding me to be protective so I didn't get hurt by bad people. But it told me to look out for bad people. It told me to look at everybody and make sure they weren't bad people. And, then they told me, don't talk to strangers. They might be bad people. Then be nice to everybody so that they're nice to you. It's like, oh, I can control them. And I can make them nice to me if I'm nice to them. And I can keep them from being bad. And this way, I can protect myself. And I didn't want to be one of the bad people, because then the good people would hurt them. So I tried to be one of the good people. And one of the good people, I had to get good grades. I had to follow the rules. I had to work hard. As I got older, they told me I had to be responsible. And responsible is an odd word. It meant do work, and don't play, and don't have fun, and put your toys away. When I was having too much fun, they told me to be more serious. And I was still afraid of being a bad person. I wanted to be a good person, so I was more serious and more responsible. And over time, this happened very sneakily slow. That I didn't notice how much fear I was living with, but I didn't really notice the fear because I was following the rules and I was trying to be good and I was getting rewarded for being good. So it seemed like a payoff. After all, I wasn't one of the bad people, and I was now responsible and serious and successful. Little did I know that I was unhappy. And I was being good, and I was being moral, and I was being what I should be and supposed to be, by all the reasons that they had given me and all the reasons my fear had given me. And that's how I became unhappy. That's how I became successful. And that's also how I became crazy. Because to be miserable in a world of possibility, it's not just stupid, it's crazy. In a world of infinite possibilities, where we're born and playful and joyful and having so much fun starting with, to take that and to turn that into be serious, be responsible or else. And then when people are no longer telling you that, to have your own mind be telling you that and follow those instructions, when nobody else is around and telling you, people say, oh, go on vacation, take a day off. Like, in my mind, I'm still telling myself to be all those things that made me unhappy, stupid, and crazy. But I didn't know I was crazy. I didn't know I was stupid. I've been taught to believe by following all the rules I was smart, I was successful, and that was the sane thing to do. And that was the most tricky, sneaky thing that the crazy people told me. Because I met a crazy man. And he didn't wear the same masks of seriousness and responsibility and trying to be good that everybody else had given me. He was free of all that. And when you looked at him, when you really showed, when you really saw him, he could do anything. He was free to do anything. He took his mask off. He looked like this. He had those wild eyes. You never knew what was going to happen next. But he wasn't just free. Because what is crazy like that is just do anything. That's also free and wild. But he also was wise. He knew what all the rules were. He knew how everybody played them. He respected all the rules. He let people believe he still had his mask on of seriousness and responsibility and misery. But inside, all play. And of course, when I was serious and responsible and miserable, I looked at him and I thought what he was teaching about breaking the rules and being free. I thought, that seems a little bit crazy. And then as I got a little more into it, I said, that seems a lot crazy, but I like how it feels. It feels good. And then it seemed like maybe I'm becoming crazy. But this is a lot happier being crazy. You know? And I saw that like what everybody had told me that was serious and stupid and miserable, or I should say, who was serious, responsible, and successful and miserable, had told me what crazy was. That freedom and that wildness and that joy was crazy. But as I got closer and closer to the so-called crazy, I started to look at the rules and the way I'd been living in the misery and the rules and suffering and just putting all that pressure on myself and not enjoying life when there was so much pleasure to be had. And I thought, well, this happiness seems to make a lot of sense. This happiness seems to be smart, and that seems to be stupid. And I'm still responsible because I was learning to be wise and respect the rules. But I wasn't living them on the inside anymore. And that's when I realized they lied to me. The thing that they had called crazy, that the serious, responsible, successful, miserable people had called crazy, was one of the biggest lies. Because this kind of crazy that's wild and free and loving and wise that feels like sanity to me. And living all the rules that make one miserable in being seriously responsible, successful, and miserable and unhappy, living like that's crazy when this is possible. Crazy and stupid. And I was stupid for a very long time. I know stupid very well. Okay? And so what's freedom from here? Living by all those rules and fears and judgments and trying to be good by all the rules based in fear, That looks crazy. But being over here in fear and trying to be successful and making yourself miserable, trying to live in all that, and putting all the masks on, all that wildness and freedom and love appears to be crazy and dangerous and scary to the fear inside that says I might get hurt, or people might judge me, and I might not be a success, and I might not be something I'm supposed to be or should be. And the rules push me back in. And in the stupidity in this structure of these stories, you're blinded by the rules pushing you back into the tiny box of misery. You don't see. And what you do see over there, you see through fear. Because you think the rules are telling you the truth, the shoulds are telling you the truth. And so your distorted image of freedom and joy and love looks crazy from that point of view. Now, I know some of you have thought that I might be crazy. And that would be absolutely true from the point of view of fear. To be this free, to take the mask off. To open one's eyes, to not look through the lens of fear and lies. As you're in this place and you're living with people that are more and more sane, this feels good and it feels sane, and there's something that makes sense about it, even if it doesn't make sense to the shoulds and the stories in your head. Something is crazy about it to that mind. But if you notice how it feels, you're like, and I like it. So that you may find a war inside, a struggle back and forth. I call that normal. And I want to give you a warning. There's still people that live in that world of stupidity and misery and call themselves successful and smart. And they'll tell you what the rules are, they'll tell you what you should be doing. And if you tell them about what you're doing, they might say, oh, that seems crazy. Are you safe? And you'll hear their fear talking to you. And if you listen close enough and you believe what they say, you'll walk over and you'll live in their world. Like I did, and I started to do when I was 2 years old and 4 years old and 5 years old. And it will look crazy. But if you live in freedom and love and you do it wisely, respecting all the rules that they live in, and understand that they don't see, and that they're living by fear because they feel they need to be protected because they're afraid of being hurt and of being a bad person. And they're following all the rules of what that defines us. And you see that, you can love them. And even move further into this world and love them more, and move further into this world and love them more. And most people won't understand you, but they'll like you. And they won't be afraid of you and your gentle, loving, free wisdom. So there's a way to be crazy. To not be normal and rational kind of crazy, but to be kind and lovable and sensible and free. That people aren't afraid of. So I tell you, it might seem crazy out there. It might seem crazy to think that there's that many people seriously miserable and trying to get you to believe their stories so you're living the way they are in their misery. It might seem crazy that that's out there, but it is. And it's fine. It's absolutely fine. And the more you love it, the happier you are. The less people will understand you, but the happier you are. But I'll tell you, I understand you. And those that have taken the mask of fear off and are free, they'll see you and they'll appreciate you and go, oh, yeah, you're my tribe. You're my people. I get you. So my suggestion is you pay attention to be careful what kind of dream they're sharing with you and who you choose to believe. Either way, you're going to live in some version of crazy. It just depends on which version from which point of view, okay? You can't avoid being crazy in this world from a certain point of view. My suggestion is you choose one that you enjoy. It gives you peace and love inside and freedom. I'm still crazy now, but it's a completely different kind of crazy. And I really enjoy this version because it comes with freedom and love, a completely irrational, unreasonable way of loving and accepting the world and people. Irrational and unreasonable. But I like it. Choose wisely. That's my story of being crazy.